America, I don't know if I'm going to cook or not. So I'm going to talk about this. This is Thunder Cafe 2.0. All right. And that's what I was doing at Lane Community College. And I was culinary arts and restaurant management major. These are numbers, busting stuff together. Because everything's handwork. All right. So like 68, 5 tables, 5 servers, 1 bus. 2 bartender, 1 host, 1 cash. This was for the bistro. So the one I'm going to be working on is going to be double this size. And since the staff I'm talking about, no official, right? I am not officially part of Lane Community College. I'm an alumni with a dream. All right. So this is simple as I took a class and I made it real. All right. So I've got layout, design, menu. All right, my menu is not just these items. That's what I wanted to go into a little bit today, is menu and menu design. All right, so we're gonna all right. So we have a lot of parts of this thing. Okay, there's the financial. All right, the format, the design. Okay, I've talked about the menu. All right, the narrative. We've talked about a little bit of downtown, the demographics. I haven't talked about the direct operation of the money because I don't know which place I'm going to be basing it towards, and I have to deal with today's numbers. That's not a problem. Excel and a few phone calls and about 2 weeks work, I can have that done. Mission statement, I already have my mission statement. How unique is my restaurant? Or whatever, man. They've been like, all right, I'm going to Pikes Peak next, getting a jet. That's all I got to say. Right here in Eugene, USA, and then all across the land as I start Ghetto marketing, Ghetto Gourmet, Thunder Cafe plan. All right, forget the resume and all that. List strengths. Personnel, I already talked about that. Train scale, schedule, pay scale. Record keeping is going to be in-house, but then also out-of-house security. My buddy's starting his own security business soon he gets back from the Army because we're going to really need it around here. It's another one of the things I got working. All right, so we're going into menu. All right, so we have recipes in menu order, sub-recipes, meaning mashed potatoes, veggie, or sub-recipes are like sauces, okay? So I serve a saffron with a beurre blanc sauce. All right, I have to pay for the beurre blanc sauce, so that's a sub recipe there. The main menu item, which would have been the lemon sole, okay, and then the vegetable starch recipes, and then you have the add-on to each one of those, which is another sub recipe category, meaning the bread, and that's plate cost. All right. But we'll get to that. All right, product list is, so I got the Safeway. Go to Safeway, students. All right, everything's marked to an ounce. Go to a place where everything's marked to an ounce. Do your whole paper marked to an ounce and you'll get it right. If you don't, you'll screw it up. All right, don't go crazy and do 50 or 100 items because you'll get lost. All right, recipe costing. All right, we're going to go into that sub-recipe costing. Vegetable starches, front insert menu completed, rear insert menu sales anticipation. Okay, so that means how many people are going to buy what. Here's a recipe sheet, okay? I've gone through this before. Here's each item that's in it, okay? This is buffalo mozzarella and tomato slices with basil. I'm going to take you over here so you can see better. Get you under a better light. All right. Zoom in a little bit, see more. All right, so we've got buffalo mozzarella tomato slices with basil. Okay, this is actual quantity and or edible quantity. So this is what you buy it at. So if it's broccoli, you can't use a stem. You have edible quantity. So there's going to be a percentage change. So that means you got to change your numbers. But we start with mozzarella, tomato, okay, basil leaves, extra virgin olive, salt, pepper. Then I give how you do it, okay, and make it pretty and all that. Right over here, if I needed extra notes, which I don't, it's very simple. All right, so this is based for 10, yield 10. That's how you have to do the class. Portion size 8 ounce, right? So I take all this, and as soon as I have that, I have how I'm going to prepare it and exactly how the preparation is done, how much it weighs, how each and every item is done. Here's toast points, even something that's simple. Baguette, garlic, puree, whole butter, salt, and pepper. You got to pay for it. All right? You have to pay for every single item. All right? Pork medallions and Scotch bonnet green apple juice. Now, while I'm talking about menu buildup, you notice I just I started with, where's my main, here, I'll set you down a sec. There it is. All right. So, I'm going to turn back easy. All right, buffalo mozzarella with tomato slices, grilled shrimp and scallops, Caesar salad with chicken, cucumber and red onion, and shrimp bisque, and then tomato concassé basil, the soup, and then with fresh French bread and butter. Okay, so this would be appetizer soups and salads. All right, notice I have a shrimp, I have a chicken, I have two that are more or less based out of vinaigrette with vegetables. This one has a cheese addition. Now we go into soups. I got two nice soups. One's a seafood soup and the other one is a total vegan soup. Okay, then you get the bread and butter. All right, so let's move to the next page, which is not even there. Look, I haven't grabbed this for a while. All right, it's in here somewhere. So the entree is basically set up in the same way. I have one pork, I have one seafood, I have one chicken, I have one that's all vegan, and then I have one beef. All right. Now I'm going to be running a major restaurant. I have over 2,000 recipes to work from, because every time I did a recipe on the show, I remember the recipe. I remember all the nuances and some of the like real fine-tuned ones that will be on the menu or specials. And then I have the ones that I know are going to sell. Okay, so I combine all these, check the numbers of today, and put it all together. I look at what sells on my show. Now, every time I'm on my show, I take a picture of it, right? Every time I have that picture, all I have to do is plug in the picture right here, and then plug in the rest of the information. Then we go over here, past the recipe sheets, into the next level, where everything's costed. So here's hand costing, all right? But then I start going into, now if you want to run a restaurant, you better listen. If you a G and you want to listen to me and you want to open up the Ghetto Gourmet or Thunder Cafe, and you know, because you can't be a chef overnight, but you can know this stuff, all right? This stuff you can know. And then you get a chef to come in and teach you. And that's what I'm going to be doing, all right? And as I teach more brothers and get more people involved who are in the culinary arts, who really want to make a difference in the community at the same time as put out awesome food, because that's what we're going to do, man. We're going to change the face of food, all right? So here's cucumber red onion salad, all right? So here I want to show you things. Edible quantity, the unit cost, right? Yield percentage, the EP unit cost, meaning edible unit cost, right? Which is going to be different than this, okay? And then extended recipe cost. So I'm making this for a yield 50, portion size 5, meaning 10, okay? So we start with a 16 ounces cucumber, okay? 13 cents an ounce. Yield, I get 50% of that cucumber when I cut it up. So that means the EP unit cost went from 13 cents an ounce to 26 cents an ounce. Do you get it right there? It doubled because the yield is 50%. All right. We go over to here, the extended recipe cost of 10 times 26 cents comes out to $4.16. As we do each item, Roma tomato, 12 ounces, unit cost per ounce, 15. Yield percent, I get 90%. I get almost all the tomato. So this only goes up by a short amount. See, 17 cents, 17 cents per ounce, or 17 cents an ounce to, or 15 cents an ounce to 17 cents an ounce at 90%. Okay? Extended recipe at $2.10. If this is a real restaurant, you're going to take each one of these numbers to a tenth of a penny. I want you to do that in a real restaurant. Okay, that tenth of a penny after you sell 1,000 is, I'm sorry, dudes. Look, you're gangsters. Look, it's like running a scale that only goes to tenths or goes to hundreds, and you're selling by the hundredth, and you're going to lose 4 points on possible on every sale. So you get your scale right and you get your numbers right. That's the same thing as the recipe costing sheet. You get your numbers right, you get your weights right, you get your percentages right, and you come out and you make money at the end. Okay? So each one of these items I go across, all right? White vinegar, you don't change, right? 100%. Olive oil, 100%. Sugar, 100%. The other one was red onion. Lose a little bit there, 95%. Not much at all, though, okay? Then I take all these numbers, which have been times by 10, because it's for 50 ounces at a 5-ounce portion, so giving me easily numbers that all can be multiplied. Everything is done to the exact ounce. Everything's per ounce. Ounce, ounce, ounce. Each one of these is 1 ounces. Don't change anywhere in none of my paperwork. I want you to do that the same way. If you're starting a restaurant, if you're a student in Lane Community College, if you're working on this project for another, do everything to the exact same measurement and deal with that measurement. And an ounce is a good place to start because they're still using an ounce in everything. If you're in a different country where they work on metric, then find a metric scale on a low level that you can deal with. A hecagram might be a good place because a gram is like way too small. All right. So now I'm going to take total portion cost, all right, which is $7.95. That means that's how much this whole recipe costs, $7.95. And here's the portion cost. That means each portion cost me 80 cents. Now, I have some things down here on the bottom. And you're like, X factor, food costs, B&B. Now, X factor, first I can tell you what that is. That's a 5% that I multiply by $7.95. Okay? To get 80 cents, and I add that in. All right? X factor is spices. All right? Run 5% on X factor unless you're using saffron or something real expensive, nutmeg, then weigh that too. Food cost percentage. Now, a food cost percentage is by taking each one of these appetizer items, okay, that I had on that sheet, right? And so some people are going to want the grilled shrimp, right? Well, they're not going to pay huge prices. See these huge prices? These are like prices from Safeway, using Safeway products at like really expensive. I'm going to get it for a lot less. Well, people aren't going to pay these prices, all right? But look at how low the vinaigrette soup is, or the vinaigrette is, $4, right? And look at how these are, right? In comparison for 16 and 14, and you know what I mean? But these are all, so the thing matches. Actually, a Caesar salad does not cost $5.95 or $8.95. It costs about $1.50. And you add shrimp, and then it's going to go up maybe $5. You add chicken, it's going to go up maybe $3. But since you're running a restaurant scene, you're going to give them bread and butter at the same time, and if they order this, it's an entree, so they also will, you know, can have a side item if they'd like to get a side item with it too. All right, so that takes it from just, so suddenly we're making a lot of money right there. Right there, grilled shrimp and scallops and wrapped with prosciutto, that costs a lot of money. $11.95, that's about the right price. All right. This right here, buffalo mozzarella is not that expensive. But it's pretty expensive, all right? Now, when I run the whole restaurant, all these numbers will drop by about 15 to 20% because I'm going to be plugging in a much bigger system. I'm going to have other items that are going to be on here that I'm going to put for $5.95, a whole list of them, or no, just 5. I hate the 95 thing. Everything's, I did that because that's the way they want you to do the project, okay? It's $16 in my house. It's $14 in my house, or $13. I probably won't have many $14 stuff. It'll be 13 or it'll be 15. I like 12, I like 13, 14 I'm a skip, 15. We balance these things out. So I'm going to have 15 appetizers, right? I'm going to have some appetizers. I'm going to tell you the truth that you could go home and make yourself and make the whole appetizer enough to feed 10 people, and it's going to cost you $5. All right? I'm going to sell one of those for $5. Why? Because it takes a preparation. I have to make my numbers work. I'm going to have 5 items on my appetizer item that are like that cost efficient. Then those are called stars, all right? Then I'm going to have a few over here called puzzles that are going to be good, but they're going to work right in the line of not down in the low percentages of food costs, which I was just talking about, like in the 5s and 10s. They're going to be in the 10 to 20 range, okay? Then items like this are the top items. Those are the ones that are like pushing 35%, 40% food costs, but I can't sell them that high, so I can lower the price of those. All right, so I lower the price of these instantly as soon as I got other items on the menu that are more cost efficient that sell more. If you sell pasta is very inexpensive. The sauces are very inexpensive. Putting it all together in a beautiful presentation, you can sell it for $10 to $15. Same thing with pizza. Pizza's numbers are all down in the like 15 to 25s, depending on how you run your pizza house. The same way with pasta houses, you're looking at 20 to 25. All right, regular restaurants running a full bistro, even Sherry's and all those places are running at about 27 to 33% food costs. That's like a very, like, you know, and when you're talking about the huge corporations like Red Lobster, who just went down because they ran that edge too long and the whole sea got overfished, and they continued to push mass amounts of seafood longer than they should have. They should have started combining into more of a nouvelle cuisine, meaning a new wage cuisine of today, which means you put more vegetables, you put more rices, you put more pastas with your things. That's where Red Lobster could save its whole system. Yeah, and the baked potato thing, I'll tell you that later. That's to the, yeah, I wrote a note, and I worked for the Red Lobster a long time ago. And you see me scrape stuff, and the $1 million spatula was vice president watching me scrape the 6 to 8 ounces out of each thing. I told you about that. Well, I wrote to the GM, and I was telling him about the spatula, and I told him about another thing that I did years ago. Olive Garden, I'd hide all the food for the mission, all right? And so here's all the different ones, all right? And I would hide it in the freezing, because the Olive Garden has a no reheat policy on lasagna, manicotti, and all that stuff, and some of their soups. So I would freeze it. Now the legal law is there's a 1 reheat, so you can take all that food, run it on your numbers as a non-profit giveaway, and run it through the entire system and count it all up. I counted it on a waste log. That's the way we did it back then. But then Olive Garden got smart and said, look, we can give all this money away. That's chicken piccata right there. Beef tornadoes on on toast points with horseradish sauce. Shrimp scampi. Grilled shrimp and scallops with wrapped prosciutto. French bread and butter. Roots. I even priced my roux. Man, everything's got to be priced. Red potatoes. Here's my starches in all that area. Broccoli. We're going to get to the end here. Marionberry sauce. All right. So iced tea. All right. So that's how that whole works. All right. Then you put it all together and you create a working menu. Now, each and every menu must be done the same way. All those menu items I just named to you, half of those, there's a pasta primavera. That one's real inexpensive. The beef tornado is way off. You can't sell it at $35 a plate. Nobody's going to buy it. So I have to bring it down to $24 a plate, right? $25 a plate, and make it a beautiful plate, or bring it down to 15 and make them 2-ounce fillets instead of 4-ounce fillets. And then as long as I have a beautiful sauce and nice sides with it, and I sell a good appetizer with it, the people are going to be sated, full, and I don't overfeed people, but I give them a good plate. I believe that when you gorge people with useless starches and useless vegetables without flavor in food, without some kind of proper preparation in and in a style to the whole plate that you're detaking from your food. You're not giving your customer the proper restore. You want them to be healthy. I want you to come into my restaurant and have some of the best food that you ever had and be very full when you walk out the door, and then I want you to be energized. I want you to feel healthy. I want you to think if you ate at my restaurant 3 times a week, you would get healthier and lose weight. And you will eat the greatest food, right? And sometimes you're going to come by in the morning and I'm be like, what's on the breakfast thing? And I'm like, well, over here we got the 50-cent bowl. And the 50-cent bowl is like, bulk. If I were to buy crushed wheat in bulk and bulk kernels and stuff and run it through the chopper myself, man, I could get bulk kernels probably in a restaurant for like 19 cents a pound. All right, grind it myself. Maybe that adds in half an hour's worth of labor. All right. If you got a guy who can do 6 things at once, it's not a half hour's worth of labor anymore. It's much less. And then sell it, man, you're talking it's going to cost me a nickel still to put out a huge bowl of this wonderful hot cereal. Come by in the morning, get it. It costs you 50 cents, $1. You know what I mean? I got to make my money, right? I got to pay for the lights. I got to pay for the house. You know what I mean? I got to make sure that this whole tip compensation law is going to be stuck here in Oregon, because this is the way you disrespect the ladies and you disrespect the back of the house by your tip compensation law. And just look around in every restaurant that you go to here that's corporate or whatever and does all the hiring of mostly certain demographic, because that demographic turns over real quick. They never have to invest in them very long, and they're what everybody wants. All right, that's what they want to see to come to the table. But us who really are culinary artists give respect to the front of the house. Not only do we do that, we become part of the front of the house. So in my restaurant, it's front of the house and back of the house knows everything. All right. The only person who really don't come back in the kitchen is the maitre d', who meets people at the door. They never have to come into the kitchen because they don't need to. Their job starts at the door. All right. My job starts at the back door. We meet in the center. I have over everything, but I don't need to be out there because my servers know how to do their job, because they know how to cook, because it's just as easy for a cook to just to take food out sometimes, especially in the situation we're going to be working in. We're going to be working in such a huge cooperative environment and a high-speed environment with mass quantities of food that it's just got to go. They used to say, hot food go in Olive Garden. It was a good thing, because I would stand in the alley as a alley coordinator. People would start like trying to hide in other places. Then I'd go get them. I'd go find them at the bar. Go in the kitchen right now. Go in the kitchen right now. I got 4 trays in the window and I want them at the table right now. I need you in the kitchen in less than a minute. All it took them was 1 minute to get there. 4 minutes at the table. Drop the tray. That's all it takes. Everybody started going faster. I used to say, everybody go faster. And then I'd be like, everybody say wee, and everybody go wee, because we were having a good time, man. That's what it's about. Having a good time in the kitchen. Taking a moment when everybody's got their food to crack up for a while, to, get out there and meet people, make a little show of it. Some of the things that I'm going to be doing in my restaurant, I'm not even talking about yet. But if you watch my show, you're getting a little idea. Now, there's some controversial things that are on my YouTube channel. Those were for protection of myself, because after a while, when people keep doing the same thing, you want to turn the camera on and be like, hey, look, there's somebody else watching you do the same thing to me that, is really inappropriate. And that's all I want to say about that for right now, until I finish the whole story, because you really need to see the whole story. And that's one thing that my book's going to be. We're in a restaurant. Let's not talk about the book, but it's going to be an extension of like the reality of my restaurant, man. I talk about I'm going to help people coming up off the street. And geez, I was talking to a homeless guy the other day, and I told him how to make Alfredo sauce. And all I could think about was Alfredo sauce. I said, well, this is how you do it. And I told him 3 times. Well, as I told him the second time, I said, put your hand out. Act like you got a pain in your hand. You know? And he did, you know, because he knew me for way, way back, man. He's been on the street a long time. You know, I represent, I respect. I don't judge him, okay? If he came through here stealing stuff, I'd be like, that ain't cool. If he came through here dropping things that, like, kids could find and get hurt, that wouldn't be cool. I don't judge him, though, all right? And I say that to everybody else around here and who thinks I'm doing this, that, or whatever, right? I don't judge you, and I don't want to go into it anymore. I have something sitting in my window looking out for my protection, right? But it's like, 1, I don't video no kids, and 2, I'm not here to be like Big Brother, like in the sky. Maybe Big Brother if you want to come and talk to me and you got a serious problem and you got nobody else to talk to, and you just like, I need to talk to somebody about some real shit. And I'll sit down and stairs with you and I'll talk to you. I'll listen to you. I'll give you the best, you know, advice I got. But anyways, I'm back to this. All right. So what we did, all right, I have all this. This is real basic, all right? Because I didn't want, and then I have my, my desserts, and then I have my wines and my, I didn't go into liquors. I just stuck with beers and wines. Okay, kept it all from the same place, kept it easy. But the idea is that you start with these numbers, you start with all that knowledge, and then when I get my books back, then I'm going to start showing you the different corners of the knowledge that you need. You need to know how to buy these. You know, you need to know how to buy stoves, refrigerators, equipment. You need to know how to have the proper tiling in your floor. You need to have the vent system. The most expensive piece of the entire restaurant is the $15,000 to $20,000 that you have to put in for a vent. So that's why I use old restaurants is usually a good idea. And there's so many ins and outs. The big 4, which is dishware, the very tables, everything has to be paid for, everything has to be bought in the beginning, and most of it's going to be often be bought with I hate to say it, with loans, because that's how America works. And your numbers, run in the black for the first 3 years, but you have to have $50,000 sitting in an account, $25,000 sitting in an account for your first 3 years. Okay, you're going to run in the black, but you better have that money ready. I'm telling you, from a chef and somebody who's seen 60% of restaurants fail, man. I don't need to have my chef coat on to tell you that. All right? You create a dream, you create a name, you create something that is so unique, and you do your numbers, you pay attention, you listen to students and chefs who've been around. Don't think that you can just go buy a restaurant and start selling your food and do it and have $100,000 and spend, keep spending, suddenly you're like, oh, okay, now it should work. I know that I'm gonna run about 3 years in the black, or 2.5, maybe 2. Okay. On my 5-year plan, I expect to run 3 years in the black because I'm smart, and that's my P&L, and that's how it works. But really, this is going to be like, if I get the